In this short video, I will give you step-by-step instructions to give you the knowledge, a tools list, and torque specs to get the job done. If this video is helpful and saves you time, please subscribe and leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. Here I will be showing you how to replace the front struts, sway bar links, and outer tie rods on a 2012 Chrysler 300 rear-wheel drive 3.6 liter. This video will also be the same for years 2011 through 2020. Here's a list of the tools you'll need: 15/16 wrench, a 15mm and 7mm wrench, a 21, 22, an 18 and 13mm socket, an impact, a wire brush, cutoff wheel, hammer, 3/8 and 1/2 inch ratchets and torque wrenches, punch, possibly a vice grips, and a pry bar. First thing you're going to do is open the hood, locate these two plastic covers, pop these off with a pry bar. Then you're going to see the 3 upper strut nuts. These are a 13mm. Loosen them all up, take 2 off, but leave 1 on for now. Then raise the vehicle up, take the lug nuts off. These are either a 7/8 or 22mm. Then take a 15/16 wrench and break loose the jam nut. Then take off the outer tie rod stud nut. This is a 21mm. Then take a hammer and tap down on it. It should pop right out. Then you can take out the bolt for the lower strut. This is an 18mm. On the other side, it's a 24mm welded nut. Then you're going to want to take off your sway bar link. This is a 21mm. You can try to take it off, but mine started spinning, which they normally do. So then you'll have to take a cutoff wheel or a sawzall and cut it off. And once you cut through it, take the cutoff wheel and grind it down a little bit more. And then take a hammer and you can tap it out with a punch. Where the sway bar is connected to the strut, you can leave that on because we're going to be taking the whole thing out as one piece. Then you'll be removing the upper control arm from the steering knuckle. This is an 18mm. Once you get it off, just tap the knuckle with a hammer and it should pop right out. You don't want to hit it on the bolt of the ball joint like we did with the tie rod, because we will be reusing this one. Now use a bungee cord to hold the knuckle in place so it doesn't pull on your brake hose and ABS wire. Now you can go back up on top and remove that last nut that we had holding on the upper strut. And now you're ready to remove the strut assembly. What you do is push down on the lower control arm and push the strut towards the back of the vehicle. And once the bottom of the strut clears the control arm, then you can ease it down and out. Then compare your strut assembly to the new one. Make sure it's right. There are different options for the rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive vehicles. These new struts came with a lock nut. It's not a stationary nut, so you'll have to cut the zip tie off and hold it when you reinstall it. Now to reinstall the strut assembly, just put it back in the same way it came out. You'll have to hold it with one hand and start the nuts with the other if you don't have a second person to hold it. Get the top nuts just started for now. We'll tighten them up later. Now you can take your outer tie rod off. Now compare it to the new one, make sure it's right. The stud will probably look different from factory, but just make sure it's the right length. Now reinstall the new tie rod in. The tie rod stud is torqued to 26 foot-pounds, and then it's an additional 90 degrees. Now here I had to take a board on a jack and push up on the control arm to get it in place to get the lower bolt in. Put your lower bolt in the same way it came out, from the back to the front. You might have to use a pry bar to wiggle it in place. Then put the nut on, tighten it up. This lower strut bolt is torqued to 128 foot-pounds. Then pull down your upper control arm, start the nut on this. You'll probably have to use a pry bar to hold down on it as you're tightening it up. Just apply pressure and it should tighten up. This is torqued to 35 foot-pounds, and then it's an additional 90 degrees. Then look at the sway bar links. There is a left and a right side. Then install the new sway bar links. These are a 21mm and they are torqued to 95 foot-pounds. Then if your sway bar links or your tie rods have grease zerks, install them now. They're normally either a 7mm or 8mm. In this case, they're a 7mm. Then as always, clean up the mating surface between the brake rotor and the wheel. Then reinstall your lug nuts and tighten them up. Then you can tighten up your jam nut on your tie rod end. This is a 15/16 and the inner tie rod is a 15mm. And anytime you change tie rod ends, you need to get an alignment done afterwards. So take it to a shop that can do an alignment. Then lower the car back down just so the tires are touching the ground. And then you can tighten up and torque your upper strut nuts. These are torqued to 20 foot-pounds. Then you can reinstall those plastic caps on there. You just put them on top and tap them down. Then you can finish lowering the car back down and torque your lug nuts. These are torqued to 110 foot-pounds. Thanks for watching the video. Please like and subscribe to get more short and to the point how-to videos like this that saves you time so you can get more done.